Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your man Kyle Price, and I'm here with the quintessential gentleman. I'm here with the legendary actor Eriq La Salle. How you feeling today?
Good, brother. How you doing?
All right, blessed, can't complain. Here with you. All right, so I just want to give you a quick rundown. We have the legendary actor, like I said, who was featured in projects like Coming to America. We can't all forget the hair, ER, and Rebound, and is now about to star in the new Prime Video web series On Call, which premiered January 9th on Prime Video. So, how do you feel about that? How has the reception been so far?
It's been amazing. We came out and we're just number one in 40 different countries and number one in the US when we came out. I guess you can't ask for much more than that. So yeah, no, it's a cool show. We've had a lot of really positive feedback, and I guess the best compliment is that people just want to know when's the next season starting, and they want us to add more shows, and so I mean it's all great, and I love the show, and I'm not just acting. I'm the executive producer, and I direct half the episodes. So I wanted to do the trifecta on this one, so it's definitely a special project for me.
Okay, so since you're executive producing as well, like has that affected how you approach the role and how the stories that you tell, especially in front of the lens?
No, I mean it's just, more duties and just making sure that your focus is there in the sense that, when you're an actor, you focus on acting, you focus on your role. When you're a director, you focus on everything.
Mhm.
Focus on makeup, wardrobe, every actor, the writing, the script, the cinematography. So it requires a lot more. And then obviously the executive producer, you make the decisions to support the director. So I'm, obviously trying to put myself in a position where I have what I need. But when it's time to step up and act, and you just want to feel like you're just doing that because everything, it's a well-oiled machine. So everything around you is running well, and it, allows you to do what you want to do.
Okay. So besides the executive producer had, like not minimizing that or anything, what about the project brought you to be like, hey, I got to do this thing? Because you have a long list of projects that you worked on. Like, what about this particular project drew you into it?
Well, I knew we were going to be shooting it very differently.
Mhm.
So we use body cam, dash cam, cell phone. So just anytime you can do something that feels different, and this feels like I ran Chicago PD for several years, and that was a cool network cop show. The fact that this one is streaming gave us more freedom and language and content and execution. But it also offered, because it's a new show and I directed the pilot, I got to put my stamp on this. When I ran Chicago PD, I inherited that show. I came in and took over in season five. This show I originated, and so my stamp, the visual stamp, the level of acting that I wanted. So to be able to do that is you know every director wants that, or more. I would think most directors want that. So it's really cool to be able to put my stamp on something and get it started and it be your baby from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like this is something that I help give birth to, as opposed to sort of babysitting someone else's child. So.
Right, right. A little more freedom. But I did have a question on that, especially as a black man, having creative license and freedom on a police show. Like, has it affected the nuance of how you approach, like not only the executive producer hat, but the acting hat and the stories that are centered around it? Like, is it more of a heightened sensitivity in how you've handled the project?
Well, I mean, look, the bottom line is this. I think if you're an artist, your goal is, no matter what you're doing, is to try to be as truthful as possible. I do think that certain mediums allow for more complex truths, because a lot of times people want to, no pun intended, make things very black and white. And I think here, you want to show some things that you might not be able to show on network television. And like I said, streaming allows you a lot of times to have more mature storytelling. And so that's nuances. That's so everything doesn't have to be so overt, or everything doesn't have to be corny, or you know what I mean, and it doesn't have to have a neat wrap up or whatever. So, and from that point of view, yeah, it was, and that's what made the project even that much more attractive, knowing that we could go deeper into things, and our characters could be more flawed. They don't have to be your network perfect hero. You know what I mean? Because this show is not about um, um, endorsing being a cop or taking away from being a cop. We're not making some political statement. We're just saying, hey, this show is about a day in the life of a cop. You judge however you want to judge as an audience member, but we're not making a statement of saying this show is pro cop or it's anti cop or it's no. It's just some complicated storytelling, and you get to ride along and you get to make your decision what you feel about these particular cops.
I love that point of view. Um, I also want to shift gears a little bit and just get into your method of acting and like what keeps you passionate about acting and telling compelling stories. Like, what would you say is the key to having longevity in this business as an actor, keeping the passion alive in all the projects that you do?
Well, I think, I don't apologize for my characters. If I choose a character, I just kind of want to lean into it. And so if a character, I don't go for oh, everyone must like me all the time and, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, if that character, like, Dr. Benton on ER was, sometimes people are like, oh my God, but he was real. You know what I mean? He kept it real, And so I think even in this one, the cool thing about this particular show is I think people think they know who my character is early on, and then towards the end, you start seeing something else, and you start going, "Oh, that's not who." So I love that. So I think just having original storytelling, original characters, interesting writing. I think these are the things that I mean. I've been much more consistent and passionate about directing over the last several years. But acting will always be my first love. So if I can find some cool, complicated, layered characters, then I'm in, and that's what this one was.
Do you prefer, in your heart of hearts, do you prefer playing the good guy or the bad guy? Like, are you more drawn to the good guy or drawn to the bad guy?
I prefer playing the real guy, and
Okay.
that's and I think that and I'm not saying that to be cute, but my point is this: none of us are all one thing. We have these shades. I love playing the shades of a character. I love playing the in between. So sometimes you can have a bad guy. A bad guy isn't bad all the time. A good guy isn't good all the time. I like that equation of things, and I like finding something good in a bad guy and finding something bad in a good guy. And I think that's what makes it interesting. So I like doing that, and and just like not apologizing. And we're in a weird place right now, entertainment wise, because of social media. And I think that a lot of artists are letting their art be affected by how many likes they get or comments. Or so if you do something bold and people disagree with it, now artists are much more afraid of, that. And I'm old school. Like I prefer stand by your art. Not everyone has to like it, not everyone has to love it, but stand by your art because there's always an audience for your art. And so I'm here to serve what I feel are the truths of this character. And it's up to you to decide whether or not you like it, whether you don't like it, or, and I like to mix it up. So just as you start thinking this, throw in something else, and it keeps the audience off balance. And I think that that's how you create longevity in this interest in a character so that it's not boring after like season one. You're like, I know everything they're gonna do. They're gonna always do the right thing. They're gonna always do this. And you're like, that's or that's boring to me.
I love hearing a purist in their element. Like this is gold. But before we wrap up, I need to hear one piece of advice you would give people to stay motivated, keep going, and just fine tuning their craft and staying a purist.
Well, I think this. I think, when you find something that you love, I was fortunate. I found mine early on. I think as long as you're faithful, to it, and I think the biggest advice is simple, no matter what it is, learn your craft. no matter what it is. Really learn your craft. Whether you're a broadcaster, whether you're a scientist, whether you're an athlete, whether you're Kobe Bryant knew his craft. Michael Jordan knew his craft, knew the craft of being a basketball player. Great athletes know their craft. So it's the same for artists. It's just know your craft. People want to jump in and they want all the fame, they want all the accoutrement that goes with this thing. No, I never got into it for that. I got into it because I love the craft of storytelling. So I'm constantly trying to learn different ways, and I do that with every discipline. If I'm a director, I really learn the craft of being a director. If I'm an executive producer, I really learn the craft of doing that. I started writing books as an author. I learned the craft of being a novelist. So everything I do, it's about learning the craft. So just real simple, learn the craft.
I love it. Thank you so much. It's an honor speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.